Hello and welcome to this webinar, Rediscovering Gold at Walker Lane, an Investment Opportunity. My name is Marilyn de Guzman and I will be your moderator for today. Before we begin, just some quick housekeeping reminders. All attendees will be in listen-only mode, but we'll have an opportunity to ask questions to our speaker during our Q&A session following the presentation. You may pose your questions at any time during the webinar by typing them in the Q&A box on your webinar screen. We will do our best to get to your questions within our allotted time. This webinar is being recorded. All registered attendees will receive the webinar recording and be able to access the presentation on demand within 48 hours of this event. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker, and you can see him on the screen. Kevin Brewer is a veteran geologist and mining executive with over 35 years of experience in mineral exploration, project development, and corporate leadership. He has led exploration and evaluation programs for gold, silver, base metals, and critical minerals across North America. Kevin is known for his deep technical expertise, strategic capital management, and his experience in advancing exploration projects from grassroots stage through to preliminary feasibility assessment. He's a hands-on leader and the driving force behind Walker Lane Resources' vision for focused, science and knowledge-based and capital-disciplined project delivery. Over to you, Kevin.
Well, thank you very much. I was wondering who you were introducing there for a second. It sounded wonderful. Thank you very much. It's great to have everybody here today. I'm going to share my screen here and go over the presentation. As Mary Lynn said, the presentation today is entitled Rediscovering Gold in the Walker Lane area. And Walker Lane Resources is looking to join the very numerous successful companies that have been recently making major discoveries in the Walker Lane area, and how we hope to also make our own discovery there. We're going to have some cautionary and forward-looking statements today. So Walker Lane is exploring high-grade gold and silver projects in the Walker Lane of Nevada. And most of you already know that we were formerly CMC Metals Limited, who were exploring in the Rancheria Silver District. We still have those projects underway, but we're focusing right now in the Nevada area. Our objectives are very clear. We have a defined exit strategy. We are in the business to discover, expand resources, and then sell projects at their peak valuation in the advanced exploration stage. We are not mine developers. We're explorers. Revenue generation, we will, however, try to undertake some smaller projects and generate revenue streams, and we've been doing that through property options, asset sales, and in the case of Silver Heart and Yukon, we're looking at development of a small-scale mining project. All of these will help support exploration efforts. Generating shareholder value is our focus. And so when we've done this, we've taken a lot of thought into how we can manage risk within this company. I mean, we are an exploration company. We don't always have success. And so you have to manage that risk and move forward. And so we've taken a very careful look at this, and now we've decided that our vision is to stay with the exploration and sell at that advanced stage. But we're also very careful over the projects we select. We spend a lot of time on due diligence before we get into deals. We put the team together that we're very happy with. Our own internal team has there's 3 or 4 of us, but we've all got 30 plus years in the business, and we got a group of great advisors, and I'll go over them. And finally, we got a prudent financial approach with a tight corporate structure, and all these things minimize the risk in our projects. But let's talk about how we went from CMC to Walker Lane. As I noted, we've got a new focus in Nevada. We've sold our gold mill in California. We sold it to North Bay Resources, Inc. And we currently hold 1.1 billion common shares of that company, plus we've got some payment streams due to us. We optioned a Silver Knife project to Major Miner Kerr in British Columbia, a property right next door to the Silvertip mine, which is one of the highest grade silver, lead, zinc critical mineral carbonate replacement deposits in the world. We consolidated our stock 10 to 1, and then we added these Nevada properties, and overall, we got an extremely strong portfolio. So, I looked at all this and I looked at what Kevin Smith told us from Crescat, and he says the best opportunity to find outsized returns in the gold and silver space is on the discovery and exploration side of the market. And this is why we decided to stick as an explorer. The maximum value generation is as you explore properties, and then before you get into the preliminary feasibility study stage and all of the detailed engineering, you actually peak in valuation, the old Lassonde curve, and we'll show you that quickly. So this is where you can create a lot of value and where we expect to create a lot of value. And here's where we are really. This is the Lassonde curve. We've got two projects in the growth stage, Tule Canyon and Amy, and we'll be talking about them. We've got a pipeline of projects behind that we will advance into drill ready stage and move them into that growth stage. But our focus right now is to move these two projects into detailed evaluation and resource definition, and that will maximize our value. So why Walker Lane? Well, I've been looking in Nevada. I looked in Nevada for when I initially started in this company about 4 or 5 years ago. Many of the plays were extremely expensive to option at that time. I was highly attracted to the area, but I just felt it was just too expensive for us at the time. Since then, I've managed to do a deal with Mike Power of Silver Range Resources, very reasonable deal for both of us. And I wanted into this area because Walker Lane area is now one of the hottest exploration areas in North America. You look at the historical production, 50 million ounces of gold, 700 million ounces of silver, and 4 million tons of copper produced. And people will say, well, Nevada, why weren't people exploring in this part of Nevada? Well, they were preoccupied in the Carlin trend and in the Round Mountain Eureka trends, and it was obvious they were pursuing elephant-sized gold deposits in those areas. But now this part of Nevada is getting a lot more attention, and we've got Round Mountain that's been there for a while and is a 20+ million ounce gold deposit. We got Silicon Merlin, Ashanti Gold, Anglo Ashanti Gold, just discovered recently a 16 million ounce gold deposit there. It's probably one of the biggest gold discoveries in North America in recent times. And there's many others. I mean, you can name them: Tonopah, Isabel Pearl, Mineral Ridge, Rawhide, Eastside, Hughes. You can keep the list goes on extensive. I mean, it's just amazing what's going on. And then on top of all that great geology and all those discoveries, you've got Nevada now that was always been a great place to explore in. It's ranked number 2 in the jurisdiction in the world by Fraser Institute for attractiveness and exploration investment. And then you look at Nevada itself, it's got great infrastructure, moderate topography, ease of access, low exploration costs, ease of permitting, and strong political support. And it's amazing, when you look at the political support and you look at some of the statements some of these guys make, Representative Horsford, he says, I'm proud to partner with Senator Cortez Mastro and Congressman Amadel on the Mining Regulatory Clarity Act to ensure production continues responsibly and free from bureaucratic roadblocks. This is about projecting jobs for Nevadans and creating economic prosperity for the American people while protecting our lands and resources. Wouldn't you just love a Canadian politician to say something like that? And that's why Nevada is a very popular place. So here we are, the Walker Lane Gold Trend. It extends from just north of Reno down into northwestern Arizona. And here you can see our location of our projects. So Tule is in about the Tule Canyon and Silver Mountain are in about the middle. We're very close to the Tonopah play. We're only about 80 kilometers away from Tonopah, about 95 kilometers away from Beatty. So we got great support. And this whole shear zone that was created and is related to the San Andreas fault system is just a wonderful place, characterized by high-grade gold and silver, most of it amenable to heap leaching as well. So it's great projects. Now, Tule Canyon, when we look first of it, we're going to go through the three projects, Tule, Camnbridge, and Silver Mountain. I'm going to tell you why I was attracted to them. So Mike came to me and he says, look, have a look at this data. And the first thing I noticed was you got two former producing mines, not to great depths, typical of many of the mines in Nevada that were operated in the 1860s, 1870s. So Dark Secret and East Side mines. And then I started looking at the rest of the project, and there was all these outcrops of gold and silver along a 4-kilometer structural corridor associated with narrow magnetic anomaly. Most of it not examined in great detail. Mike did some great sampling of that, but we've got targets already. So we got four drilled ready targets on this property. And when you look at the two mines they had, there's a magnetic low under the dark side, and there's a resistivity anomaly under the east side, both suggesting mineral continuity at depth under both of those mines. So we're very excited, and we want to get drilling under both of those mines in very near term. And as I say, you look at all these properties, and they got numerous historical workings, never drill explored, most of it also never exposed by modern exploration techniques. But yet the kind of alteration styles and geochemistry indicative of a large mineralizing system. We in fact think that possibly at depth there's also possibly some porphyritic origins and that. So we're in a mesothermal system here. And here on this is the chart. So you can see the aeromagnetic trend indicated by this yellow dashed line. And all these pinks and reds, all the pinks are greater than 30 grams a ton gold, and all the reds are greater than 10 grams per gold per ton. So you got all these wonderful showings throughout the property. And this is just in the obvious locations. There's not much trenching or anything yet. So I expect to expose a lot more gold along this whole trend in the very near future as we get working into it. And the same thing, we're seeing also great amounts of greater than 100 gram per ton silver. So the silver, the pink ones again, greater than 1,000 grams per ton silver. And you can see on the eastern showings here, some 3 or 4 occurrences in trenches and exposed or rock exposures with that. And then a lot of silver over on the western side on the China Doll and Ingalls areas. So very exciting to have those kind of grades of silver accompanied with the gold. So These were all the old workings in the area that you can see, and a lot of these have not yet been properly sampled or tested in any way, shape, or form. So it's very exciting to go into these and go into these areas where you got inclined shafts, all kinds of adits, trenches, pits, you name it, you'll see it. The great thing about this property is it's fully accessible. It's got roads linked to the major highways, and then throughout the property, you've got access to all of the key areas you want to get to. And here you can see the access to the Ingalls Vein, beautiful road networks already existing. Well, we'll have to talk about the second project, and this one really excited me because the first aspect I was told was, well, there's visible gold in this project, and you got golden quartz veins, and you also had a lot of people going into the old Camnbridge mines workings to chip away at the quartz veins to find museum quality nuggets, which you see in the photograph there. Camnbridge Mine was, again, a former producer. It had two levels. It had an adit put down about 250 feet, but the workings didn't go right to the bottom. There was reported workings that took out 10,000 tons, grading 0.3 ounces per ton. Now, we have not been able to verify that, so you can't rely on that for investment purposes. But I mean, these reports are generally fairly accurate, so we expect that they probably are. Property characterized, again, the gold's in the quartz veins. Again, limited modern exploration. Mike's team went in there, did some geochemistry, some soil geochemistry. They've identified some parallel zones from that. Some great, again, some great counts of gold in rocks. You've got 62 grams of per ton of gold in a rock actually that is supposed to be in the Camnbridge mine area. Where that arrow is in the north grid, there was actually a sample of 93 grams a ton of gold. And they did 68 samples. And out of the 68 samples, they had 20 samples that assayed over 5 grams a ton gold. So again, a nice, strong grade system, very nice. Not much work done in terms of modern exploration work. What we want to get in there and do is do a property-wide geochemistry, put some geophysics to this, get in there and find some exposures with mechanical trenching. Most of the trenching that has been done was done by hand trenches by Mike Power. 3.2 meters of 14.65 grams per ton gold was found around the Camnbridge mine area. So you got, again, lots of historical workings marked by all these X's on the map, a tremendous amount of activity. Those old workers, they knew where to find stuff. And this property, again, is a classic example of going in and rediscovering the gold and silver that the old workers did and found in the 1800s. And finally, we got the Silver Mountain area. We took this property. It was a small property. It consists of 2 4-claim blocks. And normally you wouldn't be attracted to it, but it's only a couple of kilometers away from Tule Canyon. But we thought as well, it had some nice features. It's got some really high grade silver over a 400-meter area in the historical workings, and you get some spectacular grades up to 3270 grams per ton silver in some grabs at the old cabin showing, and then at the Gulf showing in the Silver Bowl mine. Again, 0.6 meters in a chip sample in the old mine with 1,415 grams per ton silver and almost 0.5% copper. So very nice grades of silver and copper on this property. As I say, it's close to where we'd be working anyway. So we're excited about the potential of these. We'll see where it goes. And that is kind of a secondary project in that case. So we're going back to this again. So Tule Canyon is sitting here. And we haven't forgotten about Amy. Amy's a project in BC. He can't work at this time of year. We are waiting for a permit that has been slowed down by a labor dispute in the BC government, but that's going to get resolved for next season. So next summer we'll be visiting that property. So here's Silver Mountain, Camnbridge. We consider them pipeline projects, and we'll be advancing the other two. Just to mention our team, John Land is our chairman. He's been in the resource sector, a lot in the oil and gas sector, but he owns a mineral drilling company. He's been involved in resource development and resource projects for over 30 years. I got Doug Coleman, a geologist originally born in Arizona, now lives in Mexico. Extreme connections all throughout Mexico. We were looking at a Mexican project at one stage. He's a geologist, got 40 years of experience, excuse me, in Mexico in the southern United States, and he's run a consultancy. And then my last director is Jose Manuel Delgado. He's a lawyer and an accountant, and specializes in providing services to the Mexican mining sector. The advisor groups are interesting. Here's our basically our management team. We got Cesar Simmons. He's 15 years in epithermal porphyry and carbonate replacement deposits. And then we got our paralegal and accounting services. We've got two wonderful groups of technical advisors. Roniker McKenzie, Geoscience, they're out of Sudbury and Toronto. They've got a lot of expertise both on the geology and the geophysics side, and they're great people to work with. And we've also been doing a lot of work over the years with Dr. Christopher Hale and John Gilliatt of Intelligent Exploration Services. That's a geophysical group. Chris has got over 45 years of experience in geophysics, and John's got both a master's degree in geology as well. So it's great. And then on the financial side, we've got Fred Lee and Robert Casada, names that a lot of people in the industry know quite well. Now, lastly, we'll go back to our financial approach. We work to put money into the ground. We don't have fancy offices. We've got one room office. We mostly work through in our own areas. So we're working that way. Our G&A costs are actually some of the lowest in the sector. We put money into the ground. Our camps and our equipment reduce current exploration costs in Canada. We have our own excavator in Canada. We have our camps already established. And we take a contractor approach to avoid the heavy costs and salaries and benefits. So we don't have a big team. We keep everything neat and slim and put that money into the ground. We've got a very tight corporate structure. We only have 19.6 million shares outstanding, issued and outstanding. Very few warrants that are going to hang us over. And so really we're a very, very tight corporate structure right now. So what are the key catalysts that you need to look out for? Well, what you need to look out for now is we want to secure some financing. We're looking for a strategic partner or joint venture partner, and we expect to do an equity raise sometime in the near future. That will then fund a drill program at Tule Canyon and help us to fund some of the advanced exploration programs we want to do at Camnbridge Mine and Silver Mountain between now and April of next year. And meanwhile, we're working to secure the permits at both the Silverheart and Amy projects so we can recommence work on those projects in the third quarter of 2026. Well, the key takeaways are this. We have been very careful in our project selection. We only work in mine-supportive jurisdictions. Nevada, British Columbia, Yukon, they all have great records of supporting exploration and mine development. We look for projects with history, with proven high grades of gold and silver, with other metals, and we like to work in established mining districts. And finally, what we talked about, a strategic approach with financial prudency and a vision with an exit strategy. You know what we're going to do. We're going to find a discovery. We're going to build it up, build that resource, put out maybe one or two mineral resource estimates, and then start to exit out of the picture. We'll be looking for somebody to buy us. Walker Lane at this point is one of the few juniors, which what I consider to be the next generation exploration plays, as other juniors and mid-tiers are near their peak valuations in this market. You have to look at the market for what it is. I mean, it's amazing right now. Gold went over 4,000 a day. The last time I looked, it was 4,000 over 4,050, and I think that silver also went up around $1.50 today. So we're closing in on $50. If you're seeking an undervalued play, look no further. Silver Walker Lane Resources is it. Thank you very much for your time. I'd love to talk to anybody. Give me a call at any time, and we can go into more detail on these plays. I just highlighted the key features today, but I love having good chats with everybody about our plays. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin, for that presentation. It was interesting to see all the different perspectives in terms of the new opportunities at the Walker Lane trend in Nevada. So we're now opening the floor for questions from our participants, from our attendees. If you have any questions to ask Kevin, this is the time to post them on the Q&A box in your webinar page. So let's begin with the end in mind for the question. You ended your presentation noting, the Walker Lane is one of the few juniors that are the next generation exploration plays, as other juniors are nearing their peak valuations. Can you further explain your position in this?
Yes, well, we see the current metals market as an exceptional opportunity for investors. I mean, I've been trading stock all summer. Let's face it, we all been making great money at trading stock. I was at a presentation with Rick Rule, and he said, if there's anybody that's not a millionaire by the end of this year, they're fools, basically. So, there's been a lot of investing, and you've seen those stocks, the stocks that have been, and the exploration plays that have been active in the past 3 or 4 years. I mean, they've gone through their two times, 3 times, 5 times, some of them 10 times they're what they started out at. So they're starting to peak out, and we see that also in the case of the large and mid-cap producers. They're trading at or near their all-time highs. And so an opportunity like Walker Lane, let's face it, for 20 cents, for cheap. We're undervalued. We had a valuation pre-Nevada that I'll be glad to share with anybody. So we know from evaluation that was done by Fundamental Research Corporation that we are massively undervalued. And so, this is a great opportunity to invest when we get a chance to put the drill in the ground, that's when our value will grow as others have grown before us. And so that's why I consider we're the next generation play to come along into this.
Okay. Can you expound on your exit strategy? You mentioned that's the great exit strategies to exit when during peak valuation. At what point of the project exploration would you start looking at an exit strategy, and what factors would determine a project's peak value?
Well, I think you have to. First of all, you have to make the discovery, and there's already discoveries on these projects, so we're not starting at base zero. But second of all, you have to take them and you have to expand the resources, which many of the companies have been doing, over the past years. I mean, look at BlackRock Silver in the Tonopah area. They just took that project in Tonopah and started expanding that resource. And after a while, you start to get to a point where you're going to have to make a decision. Are you going to be the producer, or are you going to get into the detailed engineering and environmental and permitting activities, or are you going to look for a buyer? And that's basically the point where we're saying we will sell. And Lassonde, when he put those two curves together, he showed that at that peak in the expiration point, after that, your value will drop off for a while until you finally make a mind decision, and then your valuation goes up again. But you got to go through all that period again. So we figured the best thing to do is pick it off right at the top, grow that resource, sell that deposit at the right time. And you see a lot of people in our industry. Oh, well, we need to drill some more, and you wonder, well, when are you guys going to start to actually get on with engineering or environmental and move towards a decision to produce? Or where are you? It's kind of like they don't have an exit strategy. And we're being very clear. We have an exit strategy. We know where we want to get out, but we want to generate that value, find those deposits first, expand them, and then sell them.
Mm-hmm. So we have a question from one of our attendees. Gold is over 4,000 and silver will soon be over 50. When will micro caps like WLR follow suit? What's the reason? There's a few questions in this. Are people still afraid to invest? Walker Lane resources prospects are perfect, though. How high can the price go if there's a great drilling result?
Okay, well, first of all, I can't picture. I wish I had a magic wand and I could say, "Oh yeah, we'll be $1 soon," whatever. But I can't. But the bottom line is you have to look at what's happened to other companies that were in our position 3 or 4 years ago and where they are now. And most of them have had tremendous returns. Of course, it came with exploration success. So you do have to have some exploration success on the drill. Now, people say, well, when are the microcaps going to be funded? And, I've looked at that as from an investor perspective, and I put my money into other plays for the last year, being very active trader and making lots of good trades, getting great returns from my own investments. But it is getting harder. Every day it's getting harder to pick the next stock that you can get that 5, 10, 20, 50% return on. They're becoming fewer and fewer because the valuations are going up and the market's getting a little bit more cautious about putting money into those plays. So, eventually I see that money drifting down into micro caps like Walker Lane Resources, and us being able to raise the financings we need to kick off these plays and be that next generation play that could provide that very attractive return in the long run, in the short to medium term. I think the returns would come fairly quickly.
All right. Another question around sustainability. What do you think about sustainability in exploration? Do you have a sustainability strategy in your projects?
Well, we looked at that a few years ago. We put an ESG manual together in our firm. We do try to be very environmentally responsible in all of our activities, and I think that's the modern day exploration. In Nevada as well, you have to recycle water. For example, water resources are scarce. So you're bringing water in by trucks, and it's hard to get water permits and things like that. So that's one thing that's a challenge in Nevada is availability of water. So you got to be careful about all these things, and you got to talk to the communities and make sure the locals are aware, maximize benefits in the local economy. So all of those are part of that whole sustainability initiative in my mind on how you operate from one day to the next.
Mhm. I wonder if you could comment that there's an increasing trend among gold exploration company, junior gold explorers, particularly those with access to a mill, going beyond just exploration and becoming near-term producers for cash flow generation, taking advantage of high gold prices. But you're focused on solely the exploration side of things. Why is that?
Well, you can also look at some near-term production opportunities, and it would be silly for us not to look at some of the old workings and the old dumps to see if any of those can be recycled, and then you can use toll mills in Nevada to work that. So a small scale production might make sense for a firm like us, but to put up your own mill and to do that kind of work, well, typically a couple $100 million to $500 million in range, depends on what you're into and how you gotta produce it. But I mean, these things can get expensive, or even the permitting, just the permitting alone. Even in an easy jurisdiction like Nevada, you still got to put your paperwork together, and that takes a lot of effort. So this is why we really have drawn the line and said, in most cases, we don't mind looking at small scale opportunities that can generate cash flow and make sense for us to do it. But other than that, if we're going to get into a bigger mine, well, none of us are. I mean, we're an exploration guys. I mean, all the board are exploration guys. We're not producers. I've been with a company that became a producer, and everybody ended up leaving. The whole company changed. So if that was the case, I probably won't be there. So and John Lamb won't be there, and Doug Coleman won't be there, and others won't be there. We're explorers. Simply, that's our business.
Yeah, good focus. So another question from attendee: what's your rough estimate of Walker Lane Resources assets, or to put it another way, what's the fair value of a share?
Um, I'd be glad to have a private conversation with that individual, but I will share that we put out the report in December 2024 that was produced by Fundamental Research Corp. They valued us at I think it was at 12 cents, and that was pre-consolidation, and that was also pre-Nevada. So in post-consolidation, that's $1.20. I think it speaks for itself, frankly, and to put a value on Nevada, I have not put a value on those properties. I think that they've got great potential, and they will expand in value very quickly once we put the drill bit to them.
Mhm. So I guess for the benefits of those attendees wanting to get in touch with you, offline, could you provide your email address quickly, or how they can get in touch with you?
Okay, so it's my name, K Brewer 80, the 80 at hotmail.com. And I've also got two phone numbers, but they'll be on our website. So our website is walkerlaneresources.com. And I have right now, I'm in Newfoundland. So I got a Newfoundland phone number. So it's 709 327 8013. And in a month's time, I reside in Mazatlan, Mexico in the wintertime. So I have a Mexican number in after November. And so that will be on the website again. Feel free to send me an email. If you don't want to have to call me, I'll phone you back and we can have a good chat.
Talking about your your projects that you mentioned, they've never undergone modern exploration. Can you talk about your exploration strategy now? How are you prioritizing your work between these projects?
Well, we got two drill ready projects, and obviously, so you can't work Amy in British Columbia in the wintertime. It doesn't make any sense to do so. So our plan is to have a year-round exploration effort. Obviously, we want to put a drill program on Tule as soon as possible and start to work the pipeline projects down in Nevada. The same approach come June. It's too hot to work in Nevada. You don't want to be out working in 110, 120 degree temperatures. So that's not Celsius, that's Fahrenheit. So that's when you shift your focus back into British Columbia and Yukon, and we really want to drill Amy. It's a spectacular silver, lead, zinc, critical minerals project in very close to Kerr Mining Silvertip Mill. It's only 8 kilometers away. They're interested in the project. We hope that they're going to be a partner with us eventually in that project, but we're looking forward to drilling that one probably in July of next year.
So now we're talking about drilling. Can you also elaborate? You've mentioned you're looking for partnerships and to raise funds for your drilling programs. Can you maybe elaborate on the plans for that? When are you doing the fundraising and all those details?
Well, you've seen a number of companies that have offered out about 9.9% interest in their company, and we're doing the same. We're quite willing to take on. We think it makes great sense for a mid-tier or even a major to buy a piece of our company and invest in it. Let us get on with the work. So they will have participation rights that will, if we finance, they can continue to maintain their position in the company, and we're willing to offer them a larger chunk of the company to grow with us if that makes sense for them and us at the same time. Or to, if there are groups that just want to joint venture on a specific project that is of interest to them, there's a lot of players in Nevada. I was talking to a group there the other day that are fairly close to our Camnbridge project, and they were specifically interested in possibly looking at partnering in on that project because they're close to us. So I mean, that's those are the things that we think will make sense and help us move forward.
So looking forward to, say, the next 18 to 24 months, what are some of the key milestones that investors should watch for from Walker Lane?
I think in the next 18 to 24 months, I think we'd love to have mineral resource estimates published on both Amy and Tule Canyon. I'd really like to see drilling by that time commencing on the Camnbridge mine project and possibly in Yukon in Logjam. And with Silver Heart, we see that as a medium-term development potential because that relies on transporting ore 100 kilometers to Silvertip Mill and Kerr really has to announce, the construction of a new mill on the Silvertip project. So it's going to be a little ways away. So we have to prepare ourselves for that time frame, and that's why we say it's a medium-term project.
Mhm. And we have another question from a potential investor. I'm in a number of good metals junior companies. I'm looking for my next junior metals company. Why should I invest in Walker Lane? Sorry, he missed the first part of the webinar.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was thinking he might have missed the whole webinar, but that's unfortunate. But the best thing for that investor to do, I think, considering that I don't want to repeat the whole presentation to answer that question, is to get in touch with me, and I can go over the presentation with that person and find out their specific interests and see what we can do about it. So that would be how I would encourage that individual. But as I say, we're undervalued. We've got very high grade projects and proven deposits already that we're hoping to expand. So it's going into former mines or areas where there's been added developments, proven outcrops, grades in outcrops. It's not just fluff and stuff. These are solid opportunities that need to be followed up on.
Another question here. Well, it's your main goal to become a producer, which I think you've already answered. And also asked, we have wars in the world, Ukraine, Gaza. Could this situation drive precious metals prices even higher, and how far? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I don't think anybody would have predicted that we would have gone over 4,000 gold this week. I mean, generally, most of us were thinking that it might happen sometime between now and Christmas, and boy, did she jump today. And silver is the same way. I mean, I can remember about a year and a half ago, we were sitting with silver under $25, and here we are closing in on 50. And I think that also silver in itself, I mean, most of our plays in Yukon and BC are focused around silver. And I think there's a bigger opportunity there in the long run, because I think silver is getting to a tighter state in the market, and it also has the industrial uses. So there's a lot of uncertainty that's driving gold, but I think the fundamentals are more with silver in the longer term.
There's not a question, but a comment here. I think you'll be happy to hear this. Thank you for your webinar. I also checked on trading view, seeing WLR a strong buy. I bought 2,500 shares. There you go.
Well, thank you very much. And I bought 50,000 shares myself today. So they'll see that on my CD reporting. And so I participated in every single financing, I think, except for one way back when. I'm a big supporter. I put my money where my mouth is in this company. I have a significant holding. I'm the largest individual shareholder in the company. And so I believe in what I'm saying, and I believe in the pursuits that we're facing. And I always have been a strong advocate, and it's just now a matter of being able to raise the money to be able to advance these plays. It's as simple as that.
So,
and as complex as that.
Yes. So maybe just as we round out our webinar, maybe this is a good place to, given the high, prices of gold and the outstanding performance of gold, in recent months, maybe you can provide some sort of how Walker Lane Resources, how do you distinguish yourself? What's your unique value proposition against all the other gold plays, junior gold exploration companies out there?
Well, I don't think there's many micro cap juniors out there with the kind of mineral portfolio we have. We got 7 solid plays, 2 drill ready projects, 5 pipeline projects, 1 option project, a mill that we sold and we're still benefiting from in terms of payments and shares that we hope to at some point generate benefits from. And so, I don't, there's very few. There's a handful of companies that have that kind of portfolio at the kind of price we're at right now. And so that's how I think we distinguish ourselves. We are deal makers, and we have done a lot of deals, and we've looked at a lot of different things in the past couple of years. Some have worked, some haven't. I mean, I think we've been a bit punished for our hard work, frankly, in some cases. We don't always claim to have success, and we're very accountable and transparent about what we do. And so people always say, Kev, you shoot it straight. And yes, I do shoot it straight. And I put the money into the ground as well. So I'm not putting it into a fancy office in Vancouver or anything like that. We operate virtually, and we're very capital efficient about what we do and the kind of contracts we enter into, and very hands-on in the field. I know all of my properties. I walk all over them. I know what my geos are doing, and we keep tabs on everything. So I hope people are convinced with a simple, relatively straightforward approach to exploration, but we use a lot of science, and we put a lot of thinking into what we do.
Well put. And on that note, I want to thank you, Kevin, for your presentation, for answering all our questions from our attendees today. Thanks. And thank you to all our attendees for your questions, for your comments. We really appreciate. Again, the recording of this webinar will be sent to all registered attendees within 48 hours. You should have them in your inbox. Thanks again, and have a great day.